Yep, I'm with you guys. Amazing, thank you very much. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Art Battle Bangkok. As always, I'm your host, Max Orrell, that's MAXXORRELL. Sadly, I'm not joined with my amazing co-host, Morgan, that we were able to do last time for Art Battle Bangkok, but it just means that you get a little bit more of me this time round. So, we're well underway with round one due to a few technical issues, but luckily we're still able to commentate on the action and give you the play-by-plays. And first, we are joined by literally Orange Painter, which I think is a fantastic name, getting down some really good line work and starting to build a what I believe would be some form of some sort of landscape in the middle of the canvas. We now find ourselves with Mongus, and already really great arbiter technique being deployed here. They've already gotten themselves a really good base down in terms of their colours, and already we're starting to see these shapes being formed really quite quickly and early on into the round. I always think that's a fantastic tactic when approaching our battle, is to make sure you get down yourself a good base and then build upon that, so it becomes very clear how you're building upon your canvas. Already I'm getting like very distinct things of like water. There's a lot of things that from like the black paint and what potentially could be some form of flowing water or a hand on the top bit of the light blue, but we will definitely see how that canvas develops. Figure is being depicted by this very much is definitely using sort of like affects of pop art and iconography with the depiction of, I believe it's the backside of Mickey Mouse throwing up the peace signs, but we've also got a few lovely elements surrounding that. We've got some markers being used as well as some acrylic paint. Got the heart with the heart monitor in the top left, and we've got a couple of little different bits of green and yellow with the acrylic paint surrounding the canvas. But really liking the direction this is going in so far. Okay, circling round, we've now got Daniel, and I'm adoring this canvas already. Like, such quick work and such masterful technique being deployed, but already we're seeing so many different figures being depicted. We have got multiple lips, noses, eyes, these different things that we associate quite classically with portraits, but done in a very sort of like avant-garde way. We're seeing all of these now starting to come together with some really, really good line work to like really distinct the different parts of the features. So all of them are like really, really quite close together, so displaying an incredible amount of skill. Which, as we can see, just some of the light blue there just being danced upon the eye. And honestly, really liking the direction of this, but also I'm really liking the level of detail we're getting from this and the command of the paint. Okay, we are now joining Noina, and really liking the start of this, like very, very clear set in terms of like background and the figure. You can see a depiction of some form of feminine face seem to be beaming back at us, and those little button eyes. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's really giving sort of Coraline vibes, as in like some of like patchwork, that doll-esque vibe with the figure that's being painted, and it's being done really, really well with the paint currently on the canvas. So very, very excited to see how this particular piece develops throughout the round. Okay, we're now joining the canvas for None. And yeah, amazing, amazing technique so far. As you can tell, they've gotten a really good base down quite early on in the round, and building upon that, I believe we are getting the depiction of the eaten apple core, and we're just getting all the details being laid on in the middle. But they definitely come into this with a very distinct vibe, with a very distinct idea in mind, as we can see from the picture they're using as their basis. And we can definitely see how clear that's coming through. So really, really good work from None. Really digging this piece of work. I believe we'll be working our way around now back to our first contestant in this round. So we find ourselves back with Orange Painter, and immediately we can see like such concentration being done with Orange Painter. Like really just mapping out and laying out the colours that they really want to achieve on the canvas with this sort of like almost like monolithic sculpture sort of like being depicted. This very specific almost like landmark or building, or like something that is very architecturally sound in terms of their painting. We've got some little details of a light blue being added, and they're just really being careful with their brushing technique to really depict what is going on in the top left of their canvas. So yet again, we'll be able to pop back around with them to see how that canvas develops. We're now back with this Among Us, and I'm really loving what we're seeing with this particular piece. So they're using their acrylic paints very cleverly here, because they're like building upon them to give a lot of shape, almost like it's a bed of flowers or water or some form of like texture that we're getting that's being put about with pinks, purples, dark blues, blacks and whites. And yet again, we have got this, what I would naturally now assume would be some form of like looming hand, or at least that's what I'm personally getting from it on this canvas, with a really dark set background. So really, really amazing stuff. Hopefully the texture will be built plenty more for the bottom depiction of their canvas to really see how far it goes. Really getting some fine details now. They are now starting to work with a fine acrylic brush, just really making sure they're getting their shaping done, making sure their lines are looking good. So really getting some fine detail here. We now find ourselves back with Duranta, and oh, amazing. So I think we are now getting some little bits of typography. So if we look at the hearts on the top right of the canvas, we have the words hope depicted. Under the right raised arm of, I believe, the depiction of a certain famous Disney mouse, we've got the word faith, the right arm, and then I believe, if I can just make it out below the left arm, I believe it says peace. And then finally, above the left ear of a certain specific Disney-based mouse, we have got the words love. So I'm really liking a blending of sort of like this very street art style mixed with sort of like branded iconography, obviously with a depiction of, again, I don't know why I'm calling it a certain Disney-based mouse, because let's be honest, it's Mickey Mouse, it's the back of Mickey Mouse, but also, I don't know, I guess it's just kind of fun to describe it that way. But yeah, definitely getting some really strong vibes from them, and really liking the blending of their styles mixed with the typography and the background work they did with their acrylic paints at the beginning of the round. I believe we're making our way through the crowd now to come back, and so we find ourselves back with Daniel, and wow, already like we're now getting such vibrant colors being added to the canvas. So if we just have a look at his technique there, all of the lines that like it's so easy for them to all bleed into one another because you've got so many different depictions of like these multiple faces all blending to each other, but they're all commanding their own space with their own lines. So we've got multiple eyes, noses, chins, hair, and gazes giving to us, and to make sure that they all command all equal parts of the canvas is a very, very hard technique to do. Yeah, it's very, very surrealist, I'm getting, in terms of all of these different faces that are blending one into another, almost kind of like a dreamscape, so really, really digging that. And we find ourselves back with Noina, and I'm loving the detail that we are now having added since we last came across that canvas. That Coraline-esque vibe in terms of like very much like a doll we're seeing now with the very bright open depiction of the eyes, nice very simple structure within the face with this huge hat, and loving the actual brushstroke techniques because it's really given it like a really specific texture within the paint that is really adding to that aesthetic of like dolls and patchwork and fabric, and they've really achieved that well with their brushstroke techniques to get that across on the canvas. So really, really digging this. As you can hear by our amazing host in Bangkok, we have got 3 minutes left for our amazing artists here in this first round. And oh wow, okay, so one of my favourite things that ever happens in art battle is when some of the artists, you know, they take it off of their canvas and they really get to be quite free with how they're working on their art. And as we can see, the canvas has now been placed on the floor with this apple core depiction. We're getting these lovely splatters of like white paint that really is informing the canvas, and I'm loving at the moment that both I can recognize like a few things. So the apple core in the middle is also depicting two faces, I believe, like coming very close, but the apple core itself is also depicting what I can only describe as a candle that's been lit. So we're getting an apple core, we're getting faces, we're getting visage, we're getting light. And to achieve that in an image within like 20 minutes, especially in our battle, is just nothing short of impressive. So really powerful stuff coming from this particular canvas. And we find ourselves back with Orange Painter, now just adding the really final touches to this depiction on their canvas, and I'm really liking the level of focus and the command over their technique that's really just informing this entire canvas as a whole. We can see that just the little wisps of like sort of like a pale grey, almost like a pale blue, being added. I'm getting very much from this particular canvas a doorway or entryway, the aspects of like architecture really being strongly represented within the painting. So really, really liking this. And as we can see, they're now just really just taking their time, making sure they're adding all the little bits they can do the top left hand side of the canvas. So being very, very careful with their brush strokes and their technique. Oh wow, yeah, so as Among Us, as I mentioned before, the last time we came around to their canvas, we've got some great texture work at the bottom, which is now mainly based within the middle, and I'm getting sort of like affects of like water, but like a bed of flower and petals. The hand that's reaching out, especially reaching out to the dark red surrounded by the blue, like it's almost giving something as if it's flowers and beauty and nature, but also something that's very crimson red, almost like there is bleeding happening within the canvas. I mean, that's just myself personally interpreting that, but I really personally dig that. And we've only got 10 seconds left of the round.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Brushes down. Artists don't go anywhere. Keep it going. อย่าเพิ่งไปไหนนะครับรอช่างภาพมาถ่ายรูปก่อนนะครับ We're waiting for the photographer to take a picture of you and your painting. Round 2 artists, however.
And there we have it, our battle fans. We have got the first round underway. Honestly, such exciting stuff going on. Honestly, really appreciating all the canvases that have been produced by our artists. It's key to mention that if you want to see these guys perform again later in Art Battle Bangkok, then you can go to artbattle.com/AB2737 to vote for your favourite artists. And not only that, but you can find out more about the artists you're going to see in round 1 and round 2. So please check out the website, because also that's who you can vote for. And not only that, but all the pieces that you see that are occurring at Art Battle Bangkok tonight are going to be auctioned off, which means you can actually own some of these amazing pieces. Like I said, just head to artbattle.com/AB2737 to take one of these amazing pieces home. Honestly, such amazing, strong stuff. This is now my 3rd time commentating on Art Battle in Bangkok, and every single time that I've done it, be it with my co-host or not, I've been absolutely blown away with the level of quality, the level of artistry that we're getting, the artists that we are having. So, super exciting stuff. I will be back with you shortly, ready for round 2, where we do the play-by-plays. So, hold on tight and get ready for round 2 coming up soon.
The online auction has already begun. Anybody who would like to partake in the auction, the proceeds will be split evenly with the artists themselves. Half of the proceeds will go directly to the artists. You can use the same QR code for voting as you do to enter the auction. Very easy, you just scan the QR code and then vote. อย่าลืมสแกน QR code กันนะครับถ้าโหวตแล้วคุณยังไม่ได้โหวตนะครับก็สามารถที่จะเข้าไปในเว็บไซต์เดียวกันครับมีโหวตได้นะครับเพื่อเอาร่วมประมูลภาพแต่ละ If you have not voted yet, please scan the QR code. Art Battle volunteer or chat member. หากว่ายังไม่ได้โหวตนะครับกรุณาไปสแกน QR code ของพนักงานที่ไหนก็ได้นะครับ
Thank
สนใจอาหารอร่อยอร่อยบนฟิลลี่หรือว่ากินข้าวนะครับทางประตูด้านขวามือนะครับทางไปข้างนอกนะครับจะมีอาหารอร่อยอร่อยไทยนะครับจากฝีมือผู้จัดการ F&B สุดยอดจากโรงแรม6 ดาวนะครับ Round two will begin in 5 more minutes. If you have not yet voted for round one, please scan the QR code of a card battle volunteer or staff member. อีก 5 นาทีจะเริ่มการแข่งขันรอบที่ 2 นะครับหากว่าท่านใดยังไม่ได้โหวตนะครับยังไม่ได้เลือกที่ก่อนที่ท่านชอบนะครับกรุณาสแกน QR code ของคณะกรรมการคาร์ดแบทเทิลคนไหนก็ได้นะครับ Round two will begin in just a couple more minutes. If you have not voted, please do so now. Scan the QR code with any volunteer or staff of Art Battle. You will see them, recognize them by their awesome name tags and black Art Battle t-shirts. If you can't find them, there's one here right on the staircase with me. หากว่ายังไม่ได้บอกนะครับบอกเลยนะครับอย่าพลาดนะครับถ้ายังไม่ได้สแกน QR code จากผู้ช่วยเลยพนักงานคนไหนก็มาสแกนที่บันไดได้นะครับผม
Okay, I believe we are well underway to get ready for our second round. Honestly, what a hell of a first round. All the artists that we were able to see did such an amazing job, and I cannot wait to find out who will be going through to our final. For the uninitiated, what happens in our battle is we have 2 rounds, usually composing of 6 artists, where the top 2 for each round 1 and round 2 will go on to a 4 artist-based final to then take away the title of our Art Battle champion for that night. In this case, it will be the champion for Art Battle Bangkok, which would then take them to Nationals at a later date. So very exciting stuff. Honestly, I cannot wait for this second round to get underway.
In easel number 2, Art 58 Cohen. Easel number 3, Manasapon S. And easel number 4, Peekaboo. And easel number 5, C. Vidal. And easel number 6, Tansata. We'll begin in just a moment. If you would like to join me in counting down for our artists of round 2, we will begin in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's paint.
And we are underway for what is going to shape up to be an amazing round 2. So we join our first easel, which is Pongpathan Thandi, and already we are seeing some really good line work being put down onto the canvas, but we've also had a movement of the canvas. So we've got the early depictions of a side profile of a face, and already we're mixing up the tactics, we're getting our colours mixed, and we're getting a really solid base put down. All of these are like classic core fundamental art battle techniques. I mean, honestly, the pressure to get down everything you want to do in 20 minutes is so immense. So the fact that we're seeing a good base being put down with some good initial line work is like absolutely core art battle tactics. So really amazing stuff so far. We've then got Mansaporn S, and yet again we're already getting some really good clear depictions of a background. We're getting some very lovely, like, fluorescent greens, balanced as well with some quite bright blues and some quite dark blacks and greys. It's very much giving nature to me at the moment, so I'm really hoping to see if we are to see a potential development of something that is more based within the realms of nature, and already that is coming across quite strongly with the paint that we're seeing put down onto their canvas. Also, actually really liking their technique of, so quite commonplace is to wet the canvas, obviously, when working with certain paints, but I love the fact that they seem to just have a wet cloth they are dipping their paintbrush in after they're dipping their paints in, to still keep that canvas nice and moist, to really give them good texture to put it down, so really good stuff. Okay, we now move on to C. Vidal, and already getting the clear depictions of a person. So already we can see the rough outlines of the shoulders and the face. We are currently left with those eyes without any detail at the moment, which are currently piercing through the canvas. But I'm really looking forward to see how this imposing figure is then painted throughout the round. But already a good, solid, strong start to Vidal's work. Yeah, as you can see, just being very, very consistent with their brushing technique. Fantastic. Okay, we now move on to the canvas of Tan Star with a capital R. Honestly, really interesting stuff that we're seeing on the canvas. So we're getting the depiction of what seems to be, I believe, a figure. I believe there's something more based in the world of something very dog-based. Although I'm very curious about what initially my thoughts that I thought I was seeing bolts coming out the side of the head there. We're getting the lovely dark browns and texturing done. We're getting some very elongated ears. Whether this is the depiction of some form of character or some form of pet-based thing. Either way, really liking the direction of this already. We're seeing some very, very good consistent technique, and the blending of the paints is going really, really well. Already they seem to be commanding their lights and their shadows quite well, so really interesting stuff. Okay, and now we move to this canvas with Peekaboo. Honestly, love that artist moniker. And already really seeing some fantastic stuff. So they put down a very clear base of very dark blues and blacks to the back of the canvas, and now they're using a spackling tool with the white paint at the top there to really give some texture to their canvas. And they're already depicting something, in my opinion, seems to be quite aquatic, very sea-based in nature. And we're now seeing some really thick black being spackled across the top there. So hopefully we will see the potential of some development of some creatures upon this canvas, maybe the potential of some more actual scene work. But already coming out the gates really, really strong early in this battle with the techniques being used. Oh wow, okay, so we are now moving on to this canvas. Sadly, due to the artists actually moving their canvas now onto more a seated position, I believe this would be, I think this would be Art 58 Cohen. Yes, it is. I can now just recommend, I can now see on their water bucket that this is indeed Art 58 Cohen. Fantastic. So already some really interesting stuff from an art battle perspective, because compared to a lot of artists that like to work with the easel in the stated position, they now have it on a very seated position close to their lap, and they're using this marker pen already to get some really clear line work with some good balances of like yellows, browns, reds, these sorts of very autumnal based colours, and they're now currently outlining these really good depictions of their colour, very, very free-flowing colour, and they're just going around them with the outline of a black marker pen. So really interesting stuff from them already. Like, I honestly love in our battle when I get to see artists really being quite unique in terms of the way that they are set up and in terms of their actual technique within the art battle. It just makes it so entertaining to actually view what their process as an artist is, potentially on their day-to-day, but also how they view they're going to attack our battle. And here we've got a fantastic example, because we now go back to Pongputhan, and the fact that I was just mentioning about technique, we are seeing that they have got their canvas laid flat out on the floor. They're using, you know, they've got a good timer there, really making sure they're keeping their timekeeping solid. And we've got this beautiful pink and blue cascading, but just the subtle depiction of a figure. But rather than it being done or achieved through paintwork or outlining, it's the lack of paint in their background that I believe might potentially even be rubbed away and been splattered upon, that is now creating this very feminine side profile. And an amazing technique we just got to see there is they're dipping their fingers within the water and splashing it up onto the canvas, so the already applied paint is bleeding in these really beautiful bubbles around this very feminine side profile. So honestly, amazing stuff. And the fact that they're achieving this already with still only 7 minutes gone on the art battle clock is fantastic. So really liking just their technique basis, the way that they're attacking this art battle, really entertaining stuff. We now go back to Mansaporn S, and oh wow, yeah, so really good fluid work with their colours. The way that the foliage and the leafage seems to be really cascading quite naturally from the left, and the way that they've captured the motion of that is really impressive. I always think it's such a difficult thing within the 20-minute time limit of art battle to capture anything that's very foliage based, because you have to really nail that movement and how organic it is in nature. But honestly, they are doing a fantastic job. They're just, as we can see, wetting their brush to really make sure that their texturing is absolutely on point, and very beautiful fluid motions with their brush techniques. So, you know, you can tell that this is something they feel very at home with, this technique. And you can tell that obviously they're a seasoned artist like everybody here in Art Battle, but with particular working with this style of canvas, they are really showing us their best. And wow, we now go back to the canvas of C. Vidal, and like the development from when we were first coming round to their canvas, where literally all we had was the dark sort of like browny red of the shoulders and the very core outline of the face. We're now seeing a full like face of a very strong, vibrant character. We're getting such beautiful colours in their hair, their earrings, I believe. I think we've also got the depiction of a kitty cat at the bottom there, which honestly, I'll be so honest with you guys, I always love to see animals on canvases because I'm an animal person myself. Also, the development since the last time we cycled around to the canvas is honestly like night and day. They have worked so quickly since we last saw them coming round. I'm loving the balance of colours with this one particularly. The way the blues, the greens, the reds are all really working together, and they create such a very, like, a vividness and a vibrancy on that canvas. So amazing work by Vidal. We are now back with Tan Star, and really interesting developments here. So we're getting the depiction of a lot more colour. So as we can see, we've got some a very, very pale green now being added to the background, but also we've got some yellows and browns, as we can see around the collar of the depiction of this particular character. And what I can only make out as, I believe, goggles the top of the character there. Obviously, I could be wrong, but strongly what is reading to me is almost kind of that steampunk aesthetic. So those dark browns and golds, and then obviously the bright pale sort of like blue and white depicting the goggles. So really interesting stuff. Also, I love the way that I believe what I think is an eye starting to form, but it's a green and yellow really bleeding into each other, which I think is fantastic work. We now stop by Peekaboo, and wow, honestly, I am blown away with the texturing work done by Peekaboo's canvas here. So we are now seeing the depiction of something a little bit spooky, I believe, with what looks to be a very classic sort of Mon interpretation of a ghost with the sheet-like figure with the two eyes, but we've got some really beautiful cascading yellows that is dancing around the whites and blacks laid before on the back of the canvas. So they're really doing well with their spackle there, really layering up their canvas and really giving us a full three-dimensional depiction of what they're trying to show us, which is such an important skill within art to be able to do that. It's so amazing to see how you can really build texture within a canvas, and honestly, I think they're nailing it. I'm really, really digging this canvas in particular in terms of the texturing basis. Okay, so we've got a bit of a development from since we last saw them. This is Art 58 Cohen, and honestly, I'm really loving what they're doing, because in Art Battle it can be so easy to want to put everything down all at once. Like, we see so many people doing, like, they get their background on really quickly with vivid colours, and then they, you know, build upon that. But I'm really liking the commitment to their technique and making sure all their lines are absolutely dead on. So the lines that we've been depicted are really, really vivid and clear. We've got a distinct border in the same lines of the rest of the patterns being put down on the canvas. They're just taking their time, really commanding their line work with the marker to outline the paintwork they've already done. They're just making sure that it's all there. It's got such a neatness to it, and it's being really well articulated. So I really like to see that, because obviously more commonplace is that we do see a lot of artists, like I said, really just making sure they're putting a lot of things down and really then sort of editorializing as they go. But I can always appreciate artists going, okay, I know what I need to do. I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to do my line work really clearly. I'm going to just make sure it's all there and just make sure that everything's done in a really calm, collected manner that really makes things very clear. So really, really digging that. Okay, coming back to Pong Pu. The splatters they've achieved with the technique of dipping their hand in the water bucket and splatting it onto their canvas is so clear on the right hand side of their canvas, and this depiction of a very feminine figure with the purples and blues, and now with a little bit of like yellow shining upon their neck. Honestly, it's so beautiful. There's something almost so really, really digging it. It's sort of like, for me personally, there's an inspiration of there's an album cover done by Grace Jones where it's the fact that it's such a clear depiction of like the side profile of the neck and the ears and showing off all the facial features, and it's really giving almost like an elevated style of that. It's giving such beautiful colors and inspirations of like space and like dream work. So really, really cool stuff. Okay, we are back with Mansaporn, and yeah, amazing stuff. Similar to the last artist I was mentioning in terms of building texture, this is another fantastic example of building texture, but particularly building texture with motion. As I stated before, when they are building their canvas, especially to depict like foliage and nature and the outdoors, there's a wildness that you really have to capture, an emotion, and they've absolutely knocked it out of the park. The way that the flowers and the reeds are sprouting from both opposite sides of the canvas. One is, I believe, the smaller depiction with the pale blue and white on the bottom right-hand side. The left-hand side dominating the top left and the bottom left of their canvas, slightly imposing more than that. But it's the fact that we are getting a depiction of some beautiful wild flowers, and the key component that really gets that across to us is the colours and the textures. So, amazing work. Okay, we move back to Vidal, and wow, okay, genuinely, I love how every time we've come back to Vidal's canvas, we've seen such a great development. Like, the headdress being depicted on the person in the canvas is so bright and beautiful. Yet again, some great texturing taking place. It's not too muddled, you can really see the texture of like the whites, the blues, the yellows to make this headdress. And again, we're seeing the beautiful depiction of the kitty as well, which I can always appreciate. But yeah, honestly, Vidal, every single time we've come to the canvas, it's developed so much in such a short space of time. So you can really tell that they are commanding their technique so specifically to be able to get so much done in such a short space of time, which obviously in Art Battle is such an immense skill within itself. But yeah, really loving the work from Vidal here. Moving on, and we do not have long left in this second round of Art Battle. Now come back to Tanstar. And oh wow, okay, so I believe my suspicions were initially correct, as in I believe the grey almost is depicting these two very big chunky deadbolts in the top of the person being depicted in this canvas. Almost something of that of like classic horror and Frankenstein, but it's definitely got influences of like steampunk as well, with a depiction of the left eye that seems to be swirling. It's beautiful, light, sort of like light green and yellow. And now that we see the crosses on these gigantic bolts, it's really blending such inspirations of classic horror. I'm getting steampunk. I'm really getting sort of like modern depictions of those two as like core aesthetics, but then it's really being balanced well with the actual brushing technique they're displaying, and we can now see that they've also got the mouth there displaying some fangs. So really interesting stuff. We now come to Peekaboo, and honestly I do think that Peekaboo is such an appropriate name, especially for this canvas, because it's such a chaotic and like spirit-like nature being captured on this canvas with the depiction of the ghost. The ghost is almost dancing in what almost looks like fireflies and the outdoors, but we see that the pivotal figure, the ghostly figure at the bottom left of the screen, is dancing with all these beautiful textures of the yellows and blacks. Like, they're really making the most out of their paint, and they're really making sure that the texture of their paint is really working for them. So Peekaboo doing an amazing job with their canvas. It's ooky and spooky, and for those of you that are joining us on Art Battle and are aware that obviously I've been doing Art Battle for quite some time, I am a big fan of all things ooky and spooky, so Peekaboo is doing a fantastic job capturing this very cute aesthetic within this very spooky depiction. Oh wow, okay, so we have got pens away from our artist, which is Art58 Cohen. And Cohen, yeah, going some really striking visual elements. And they're done. They don't need the full 20 minutes. Literally, he's turning around and he's allowing the audience to really appreciate his work. I love the fact that rather than feeling like the need to add anything or to, keep going right up until the last, some artists, they go, yep, you know what? I've done what I wanted to do. I've achieved what I need to do, and I'm just going to leave it there. And Cohen's definitely doing that, and I can always respect that. But it's really, really clear, this almost bird-like painting, but that's very much based in almost like tribal painting work in terms of the way that it dances. Yeah, really interesting stuff. And yeah, Cohen now, I guess, can just relax for the rest of the round. Okay, we're coming up to the last minute, and we've come back with Pong Puthan, and wow, just utterly amazing technique. They're now just adding finite details to all of the water splots that they added to the canvas, which they did with their fingers. Now, there's something almost chemical about the background. It's equally giving aspects of like the galaxy in space, but also something very chemical with such vibrant depictions of like pink and purple, but the bubbles being really captured and adding detail to is phenomenal. It's almost like they are combining the best aspects of very fluid art and chemistry there. Fantastic, fantastic stuff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1 brushes down วางผู้การครับ Let's hear it for our artists ขอเสียงปรบมือให้จิตรกรทุกท่าน
And there we have it. That concludes our second round for Art Battle Bangkok. Honestly, the level of talent that we have at Bangkok, like the past two times, has been amazing. And third time round, it hasn't disappointed. Honestly, such beautiful piece of work done in such a short space of time. I cannot wait to see who goes through from these amazing artists. If you want to see these amazing artists perform again, then get onto the website through the link, which is artbattle.com/AD2737, and show some love to your favorite creators. Honestly, I'm so blown away with the level of quality that we've been able to get at Art Battle Bangkok. So please, show the artists some love. If you love the pieces themselves, then please put a bid on them, really just show them how amazing they've done. And if you want to see them again, go through to the final round, then you need to vote. It is so key to show your support and vote for your favorite artists, because when I return, we will be looking at the final round for Art Battle, which will be the top two artists from round one and the top two artists from this round two just gone. And we will be able to see two from each of these amazing artist groups going through to the final. I'm now going to quickly take a short break, but when we come back, we will be kicking off with the final, and you do not want to miss this. I will see you very, very shortly.
Could be the next 25,000 baht winner from Art. The winners from rounds 1 and 2 will be announced in minutes, after which we will probably begin round 3. Vote now. อีก15 นาทีนะครับจะประกาศผู้เข้ารอบจากรอบ1รอบ2รอบ3นะครับผมรีบโหวตกันนะครับผมเดี๋ยวเราจะรวมผลงานจากสภาใหญ่ที่แคนาดานะครับอีก15 นาทีนะครับประกาศผู้เข้ารอบ Our next outbound will be 8-7. We have only 50 tickets for our super art lovers. First 50 tickets to go in the next 48 hours to the special low price of only $200. Get them on Ticket Melon. Just search for Art 27 show.การต่อไปนะครับเราจะจัดในเดือนหน้าเดือนที่3ราคาพิเศษสำหรับที่จะปักในเวลา48 ชั่วโมงนับจากตอนนี้ไปครับผมสมัครที่ซื้อได้นะครับเพียงแค่200 บาทเท่านั้นนะครับผมเพียงแค่ไปซื้อที่บริษัทกงฟิกเก็ตแมลอนได้นะครับแล้วก็ลองซื้อคำว่า Art Apple Bangkok April 27. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the list of our 4 finalists. After voting the Art Battle headquarters in Canada, are you ready to find out who are 3? Right now, หมดแล้วนะครับรายใหญ่ที่แคนาดานะครับมีผู้เข้ารอบเพียงแค่เดี๋ยวจะมีนี้นะครับ Our 4 finalists we have Noina Pongputan Kandi Sividal. Our 4th finalist Daniel Holmes. Artists, prepare your palettes. Jigon, Korean dance.
So there you have it. We have got our finalists announced. Honestly, well done to all the artists involved. And honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better stream to commentate over because we have had such amazing talent. All of them deserve to go to the final, but sadly, only 2 from each round can. So, hold on tight because we have got an instant classic in the making here for Art Battle Bangkok. And just a reminder, for any of the pieces that you want to really admire and show support to the artists, you can head to artbattle.com/AB2737 and you can bid on all of the pieces that we created tonight in Art Battle Bangkok.
Enter the online silent auction, everybody. Don't let any of the artists go home empty-handed. Take their artwork home and give them money.
As I just heard from our amazing live host, live at Bangkok, show the artists some love, give them some money. I could not agree more. I'll quickly just briefly say thank you so much for all of you joining me on the live stream, no matter where you're streaming it from, what time of the day. Currently, I'm based in the north of England in the UK, so it is just striking up at 2 p.m, but I believe the time in Bangkok would be closer to, I believe, 10 o'clock at night. So, whether you're enjoying this on the night time, whether you're sitting down at lunch and having a check on the Out Battle stream, or maybe you're getting up after a long weekend, whatever you're doing, thank you so much for joining us at our battle, and you guys are in for an absolute treat with this final. I cannot wait for it to get underway. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Art Battle, because we do so many different streams across the world. We do so many amazing events. I've been lucky enough to commentate over multiple events in Bangkok. This is my 3rd time commentating for Bangkok, but I've also done London multiple times. I believe I've done Bournemouth. There's a few in literally North America, South America, Asia, you name it, we do an event there. And honestly, it is some of the most exciting stuff if you're an art fan to see an art battle, and we're able to literally just cultivate some of the most incredible artists and see them do battle in this amazing competition. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for more art battle streams. Well, hopefully you'll be hearing myself or maybe one of my amazing co-hosts. For example, last time, a former champion, Morgan, who I believe is a Canadian artist who is a art battle world champion. And I'm lucky enough to share the audio time with them when I usually co-host. Sadly, they were not available today, but I know that she will be watching the stream today and beaming at so many amazing artists that are just kicking ass in Bangkok. Okay, we're now getting well underway for this final round. I'll quickly be with you as the beginning of the round starts, and we're on for an instant classic.
Both those in the final round and those not in the round. In the final round, you still have the opportunity of painting in our online auction. Don't let them go home andขอบคุณจิตรกรคุณจากใจจริงๆนะครับสำหรับจิตรกรทุกท่านที่สามนะครับไม่ต้องนะครับประมูลทางด้านออนไลน์ได้นะครับผมจะได้ไม่ต้องกลับบ้านเลยก็ตามทุกท่านที่จะเข้าไปประมูลตัว
Okay, we are just about to get underway for this final round. I can see that we've got so many people from across the world tuning in for this art battle final, including we've got a few people in the north of England, being Tim and Helen, so hope you guys are enjoying the stream, as well as the Glory Boys, also streaming it out of Manchester, so fantastic stuff to see. Love the fact that we've got such a large community across the world that is supporting Art Battle, no matter where we actually bring Art Battle to. We're so lucky to bring it to so many countries. So the fact that, we've got so many people around the world viewing these amazing artists in Bangkok tonight, just absolutely showing us the best of their work, it's truly incredible. Honestly, I am so excited to see this final because we were lucky enough to see these amazing artists show us their absolute best work in their respected rounds, but now we get to see them go at it again. We get to see either potential continuations of their work in terms of their style. Sometimes we see very radical changes from round one to round two to the final. We are going to be able to see so many different things, and it's going to be underway in just a few short minutes.
In just a moment, we will begin our final round of this month's art battle. อีกสักครู่นะครับจะเริ่มการแข่งขันรอบสุดท้ายของครั้งนี้นะครับ So, everybody's ready. If the artists are ready or not, ว่าทุกคนพร้อมหากว่าจิตรกรพร้อมหรือยังไม่พร้อมเรา We are starting in 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1.
And we are underway, art fans, with this final round of Art Battle Bangkok. Honestly, I am ecstatic to see where this goes. So we're joining one of our first finalists in Nuina, and we're seeing now some good sketch work being done. We're seeing some very subtle outlines being done in what I want to assume potentially could be, I want to say either potentially a pastel or a crayon, but just doing some really good line work. We're seeing their really classic style that they brought in the first round, which was that of the very patchwork looking figure. And I think we're getting something similar. As we can see, we can the button eyes being a very iconic piece of the character that they have depicted, but we seem to be getting some long flowing hair or the potential depiction of a hat. So really looking forward to see how they're going to develop from their first canvas. Okay, and we're joined again with C. Vidal. Fantastic to see them here in the final. Already, there's such a striking sort of like side profile, like turning face on the depiction of this very feminine figure, but also getting the depiction of a potential figure beside them, what I would assume would be that of I believe, some form of dog or wolf, a very proud-looking creature. Hopefully we can see their command of colour and texture again, because the headdress and depiction of the character they did in their respected round was so vivid and bright and beautifully textured that I really want to see so much more of that again in this final round. We join ourselves now with Daniel on their canvas, and wow, already coming out the gates really strong in terms of the vivid colours. We're getting such beautiful almost what looks like eyeshadows and eyes being depicted. So if we're getting that just purely from the eyes, and we're getting these beautiful yellow, oranges and reds, almost like a flame being depicted, then I cannot wait to see how the rest of this particular figure they're depicting will, come together in this final round. but already showing such brilliant, vivid colours, such great painting technique as they showed in their respective round. And honestly, amazing, amazing stuff. Oh, wow, amazing. So we're seeing, so this is Pongputhan again from their second round, and already they're displaying such brilliant technique. They've gotten a really good base down in terms of the blues and pinks, but this is more dominated with the pale and light blues compared to last, which was more base in purples and pinks. And already, like, it's only been a few minutes in this final, and they've got such a beautiful, cascading, bleeding colours achieved through the technique, as we saw, where they were dipping their hands in the water and splashing the paint across their canvas on the floor, not using the easel at all, which I think is such an amazing choice. But yeah, hopefully we get to see this beautiful, almost, like, I compared it to something of that of chemistry, in the way that the canvas seemed to bubble with bright, vivid colours. Almost that of also like a dreamscape, something that was a little bit mindscaped. So really looking forward to see how they bring that to life again in this final round. Amazing, amazing stuff. And we go back round to our first canvas of Noina. Honestly, the thing that really that I love about this artist in particular, coming into this final round, is they've got such a great way of capturing texture within their paints. Like, obviously, when working with any form of like acrylic-based paint or oil-based paint, you're kind of at the whims of the texture of the paint. But they seem to have such good brush technique and the way that they layer all of the different colours together, that it really does give this aspect of like fabric and like cloth or like stitching, which to do that with paint is just nothing short of incredibly impressive. But it really adds to their whole vibe and style as an artist that honestly I'm really falling in love with in this final round. So amazing, amazing stuff from Noina. Oh wow, so coming back to Vidal, and wow, just how clear they are with their brush technique is breathtaking. To be able to not only capture such vivid colours, but to have such clear lines, as you can see, between the very pale blue and the yellow, as well as the features of the face. To be able to do that so quickly with such like laser-esque precision is just nothing short of incredible. Like, they've got such a beautiful way of depicting people in this very beautiful modernist way, and to top it off, their technique of achieving that is just so well articulated. Like, you cannot tell where the line is between the yellow and the blue, but it's so lasered down in terms of the face, and it's commanding such presence with its colour. So amazing, amazing stuff for Vidal. Really loving their technique on this canvas. Oh wow, okay, so coming back to this particular canvas, and Daniel is doing an amazing job of really offsetting the really powerful, bright, almost eyeshadow is the only sort of thing I can compare it to on a person when painting this character, and they're now offsetting it with this beautiful, like, pale bluey grey, which means that we're going to get a really beautiful depiction where a lot of the colour and the motion is coming straight from the eyes, which I think is an amazing choice. But also, if there's one thing as an artist myself that I can appreciate under a time constraint, it is really nailing eyes. It sounds so simple, you know, to be able to depict the actual eyes of a person, but to do it in such a short space of time, to capture such energy that eyes really hold within art, is just nothing short of impressive. And I think this is really just a great way of doing it, with some brilliant, vivid color just cascading from the eyes, really giving us this really beautiful raw emotion from the person they are depicting. So yeah, really fantastic stuff. We now come back to Pongputhan, and oh, honestly, wow. Literally only just 10 minutes gone, so we're halfway through this final, and already they are showing us how they can really just command this particular technique of theirs of splatting the canvas with the water droplets in their fingers, which it's incredibly tough to do something like that with a brush, let alone being at the whims of your fingertips. And yet they do it so easily and with such great style. It's got such beautiful motion that really does capture the essence of water, because they are using water droplets to actually make the color bleed. And I think that's so incredibly special. But the way as well that we don't have any depictions of hair on the person they're depicting, because the canvas bleeds into it, so the back of their skull just cascades into some beautiful blues and purples that it is so unique to their style. And honestly, I'm digging it so much. We come back to Noida as we are halfway through this final, and I really love, like, so Noida, you can tell that very much a stamp of their work is these bright, like, huge button-esque dark black eyes, and the way that that is piercing through the canvas, whilst they're now adding some bright colours in what I believe is a pair of dungarees on their character. And completely separate from art. Like, if anybody that knows me will know that I'm the biggest fan of a pair of dungarees. I own so many different pairs for just my everyday life. So the fact we're getting some dungarees in this art battle final in Bangkok, I am bloody chuffed with. But fantastic stuff being depicted. I'm really loving the way that they're now just really taking their time, being very laser focused in capturing the person, but they've got such a good, unique capturing of faces, and the way they do the huge, very almost sort of like galaxy-esque eyes, and the way they're just these black pits with such a subtle offset whiteness to them as well. It's fantastic. We come back to Vidal, and honestly, Vidal's command of colour is inspiring. It's so inspired, the way that they are working with their colours in such beautiful, bold vividness. Like, we saw that in their round before the final, their colours were so strong, and you have to think it must have played a strong factor in them getting into the final, because their command of colour particularly is so vivid and so bold and so inspired that honestly I'm really, really loving this canvas, just because of the way that they are showing us these beautiful differences in colour, from blues, reds, yellows, the full spectrum, but it all comes together. It's not chaotic, it's really well articulated, and that within itself is such a beautiful skill for an artist to have. So really inspired by the work being done by Vidal at the moment. Time is ticking down in this art battle final. Who will come out victorious? Honestly, at this point, I would not want to call it. All of them are such worthy finalists and worthy competitors that are doing such amazing work. But that's entirely up to you, Art Battle Universe. You are the ones that can decide who will be the ultimate champion of Art Battle Bangkok. Okay, revisiting Daniel, and wow. Such sharp features that we're getting in the depiction of the jawline and the lips. Like, really sort of like almost model-esque in the sharpness of their face, and how It also reminds me of like when you see very classic depictions of marble statues, the way that they have such very defined cheek and jaw lines and very prominent features. They're really capturing that, but with this beautiful command of color that is really like a development of that. I'm still really loving how we're looking at very muted like blacks and blues and greys, apart from the eyes, which is this vibrant, almost sunburst of color from like the eyes to the eyebrows, the eyeshadow, and it's giving me such like vivid things, very high art, a very sort of like drag almost in how vivid the eyes are as well. So really amazing stuff. Whoa, wow. Sometimes when you commentate on these events, the only thing you can say is just wow. Don't get me wrong, I really love the fact that I'm able to inform you guys and enjoy the stream with you guys and give you some play-by-plays of the art as they're doing them. Sometimes you just look at a canvas and the only thing you can react is, wow. Pontputhan is just creating such a beautiful, almost dreamscape of this depiction of their person. And you've got these little subtle bits of like yellow and reds really being added now to accent this. Such bold colours within the lips and the face. Even though there's such a powerful stream that's being captured, there's a beautiful stillness within the face, a very, very set calmness that is really beautiful to see, especially in this huge wash of like fluid, sort of liquid-based blues and pinks. It's like they're just accelerating through a dream, and that's just incredible to see. Okay, we now come back to Nuina. And oh, we've got some typography there. I wonder if, like, so we've got the typography of BKK. Who knows, potentially that could be, if I was to hazard a guess at the reference, maybe that is for Bangkok. But I'm really loving the fact that we get some typography compared to their first round, which is really interesting to see. Really loving the way that they're capturing this particular character and the building of the gigantic hat that we also got with one of their characters in the first round they were in. And I'm just loving, again, how they just seem to have a way of capturing this certain aesthetic of texture, which seems very thoroughly unique to their artistry, the way that they're able to capture this sense of texture within their paints. And if you just overheard our amazing host, we have got 5 minutes left on this final. You do not want to look away from this. This is shaping up to be one hell of a final round of Art Battle Bangkok. Wow, we come back to Dal, and the Dal is just yet again the beautiful headpiece. It's very similar to what they captured in their initial round, but such a beautiful development with different colours, and the fact that we've got a side profile almost looking back behind their shoulder, as well as having like the majesty of the animal kingdom being represented in the bottom right corner of the canvas. Just they have the most amazing command of like vivid colors. It's so beautiful to see that done, and to do that in 20 minutes is nothing short of staggering. I mean, all of the artists are doing so incredibly well with time constraints. Like as an artist myself, I know to achieve like even close to a level of these guys, you'd have to give me at least a week, and even then, there would be no promises that it would be this well done. And the fact they're doing in 20 minutes is just nothing short of incredible. Okay, we're joining Daniel back on this canvas, and wow, just the addition of hair now. They're really building on their line work, which is now touching up to the top of their eyeshadow, and it's bursting from the eyes like it's flames now, which is just gorgeous. What I thought initially would be sort of like more of a eyeshadow or capturing of like that particularly with the vividness of the colors, now it looks like eyes are radiating, almost burning through their canvas, and that's such a beautiful thing to see. Like, I'm really loving that particular motif done by Daniel there. It's captured so well and so bright and burning. Honestly, fantastic stuff. Really bringing their A game in this final. We now come back to Pomputhan, and they're just adding these beautiful little highlights and touches to their depiction of their figure. God, they've got such a great command of not only colour but also lighting to really capture the lighting and the softness on somebody's face, especially as it's then cascading past them as if they're just being shot through a galaxy. Like, to do that regularly with any painting is a difficult skill set as an artist, and you can ask any artist how hard it can be sometimes to really make sure that you're capturing that sense of lighting. And they are doing just a stunning, beautiful job. Like, I am just adoring this canvas. They've only got about a minute left, the artists now, and all of them can be so proud of the work that they've done in this final. Just beautiful pieces, so many different inspirations, so many different avenues that we've gone down. Truly, this is shaping up to be just a hell of a final here in Bangkok. Honestly, viewers, I have been so blown away, and I always seem to be with Bangkok. Every time I get to commentate on these, I'm always excited and giddy because Bangkok, like, they always bring their A game. Like, when it comes to our battle, they don't come here to play. They come to showcase such a beautiful, amazing city and country's artists, and they nail it every single time. As you heard from amazing host, this is the final minute stretch of this Art Battle final. Who will come out victorious as the Art Battle Bangkok champion and go through to one of our future final events? Honestly, I cannot wait to see. Noina now adding a little bit more typography in the top left-hand side. And way! Oh, fantastic! They've just written Art Battle in the top left of their canvas. I mean, I love to see some great typography, but also it's such a beautiful thing to actually have a representation of the night being represented in the fact they have signed it as Art Battle. So fantastic to see. Oh, 10-second countdown is underway.
8, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1. Brushes down. One big round of applause. Go see them both. Hey, artists here tonight. Rounds 1, 2, and 3. Thank you again. Thank you for showing your support for the artists.
And there you have it. What a final round. I cannot wait to see who comes out victorious in this Art Battle Bangkok. Obviously, I'll be staying with you live until we announce the winner. So thank you everybody that has joined us on the stream and that was able to actually view this live in Bangkok. I'm going to give a massive shout out to the team on the floor actually in Bangkok. They've done such an amazing job, and every time we run an event in Bangkok, they absolutely kill it. And honestly, we have been just spoiled, absolutely treated to such amazing work. So shout out to the artists, massive shout out to the staff, massive shout out to Bangkok. Honestly, they are doing themselves so proud by showing such amazing work. I cannot wait to see who will come out as the champion of Art Battle Bangkok. This is your last reminder. If you want to vote for your favourite artist, then head to artbattle.com/AB2737 or the link in the description where you can vote for your favourite artist. Not only that, but if you've been inspired tonight by any of our artists' works, then you can bid on them and take the artwork home. As our amazing host on the floor in Bangkok live tonight says, don't let the artists go home empty-handed. Show them how much you adore their work, take it home with you, and just show all the artists all the love that they deserve. Just absolutely kicking the hell out of this Art Battle final. Now, we're now going to have about 10-15 minutes whilst we tot up the votes for this final. Honestly, thank you so much for everybody joining the stream. I adore being able to do all the Art Battle streams, but the last 3 times now, I've now done Art Battle Bangkok. It's always been so special, whether it's been with my co-host or not. I feel so honored that I get to do the play-by-play for this event. It's so incredible to see such amazing pieces of work done in the art battle competition format. Honestly, you won't find another art competition like this anywhere in the world. And the fact that we get to run this in multiple cities, connecting so many different artist communities around the world with the sole aim of highlighting such amazing artists, showing good sense of community and competition, and creating beautiful, bespoke, one-off pieces by these artists is nothing short of incredible. Also, got to always do this, but if you want to see any work more particularly done by myself, then I am a live stream host for Art Battle, but I'm a social media person. I'm mainly based out of Instagram and TikTok, so if you want to give me a follow and you want to hear more work that I'm coming up with myself, then follow me at max_oral, that is MAXX_ORRELL, and you can follow me on all my socials based there. Okay, I'm going to briefly just go and get myself a little bit of a glass of water just before we then find out the results for this final. But you do not want to look away because this has shaped up to be one hell of a final. Stay tuned to see who will be the ultimate winner of Art Battle Bangkok. So, our battle fans, the voting is just about to close for this final. If you want to see your favourite artist out of the four finalists win, then you need to get your votes in ASAP.
Before we go, tonight, winner maybe full.
Oh, there you have it, Art Battle fans. A huge congratulations to Pong Puthan, a thoroughly deserved winner. They are your Art Battle Bangkok champion.
Speaking on behalf of our winner, he says, I'm very proud to have joined in the competition and to have shown my skills and shared the event with the other artists. He's thankful to us, to Mr. Noel and Big Lobby for the opportunity. That was really humble. Thank you.
Well, what a hell of an evening for Art Battle. To those of you, who joined us for the full Art Battle in Bangkok, thank you so much, viewers. Honestly, we couldn't do these amazing streams without you, so thank you so much for joining us tonight. I've been Max Zorrell, and as my granddad always says, kick eye, dry fly. We will see you next time for another instant classic here at Art Battle. Thank you so much, and I will see you very soon.
Thank you.